What is up everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing here a deck profile for a metal deck that I've actually built, focusing here on Galarian Stunfisk. Now there are two different variants, and in this particular build you could actually play both variants if you actually wanted to, or you could actually play either variant, and they both do quite interesting things. So I'm actually going to take a quick dive as to what each of these cards actually do here. So firstly, you have the one from Vivid Voltage, which is counter attack. Basically, if it's being damaged in any sort of way in the active spot, then you get to put 3 damage counters on your opponent's attacking Pokemon. Now on the other hand, the one from Sword and Shield, if it's damaged while in the active spot, then you could actually discard an energy from your opponent's attacking Pokemon. So they both have these two particular gimmicks that give a certain disadvantage to your opponent in some sort of way when it's damaged in any kind of way. So it's kind of like a spring trap, which is quite nice. But you know, to play 2 of each in a deck, not the most optimal, but it does offer quite a bit of variety in terms of play and interactions. But if you guys feel like you want to play more consistency with it, then you could choose one of them and focus on that particular one. Now personally, I think the one from Sword and Shield is a bit better than the one from Vivid Voltage, but you know, that might just be your guys' decision on that. So with that being said, let's just get started with this deck profile. So to begin, we're obviously going to be playing here our Galarian Stunfisk. I'm playing 2 of each because it's just how I'm choosing to, but you guys could play 4 of one of them if you actually wanted to, and decide on that. So that's completely up to you. It's essentially a main focus of the deck itself. But with that being said, we're playing here Galarian Berserker and the Meowth, of course. Meowth can search out the Berserker by discarding 2 cards, and Berserker will have an ability where you can make all of your active Pokemon deal 20 more damage to your opponent, at least all of your metal Pokemon. So it is very nice to actually have a card like that. Next, we're also playing here 2 copies of Jirachi, definitely very fantastic. It's essentially a nice searcher for the deck, and it also happens to be steel, so it makes everything work out quite nicely. Moving on for a bit of supporting Pokemon, we're going to be playing here the Oranguru. Lets you actually manipulate the hand size, or rather the cards you actually get to your hand. Very nice indeed. And we're also going to be playing here ADP. Yes, this is definitely a really nice card to actually play, and I think that, I mean, if you're going to play a metal deck, it just feels appropriate to have at least 1 copy of this in the deck, you know. But yeah, with that being said, we're also going to be playing Crobat V and Dedenne GX as well. Great cards to help you draw for more cards. But we're also playing here 2 copies of Zacian V. I think it would be very wrong if you were to play a metal deck that does not incorporate Zacian V. Zacian it doesn't have to be the main attacker, but still a really nice card to help you draw into cards anyway. And it's just absolutely amazing for what it is. But I'm using all of these mainly as supporting Pokemon, as I want Galarian Stunfisk to be the main gimmick of the deck itself. However, that was pretty much it for the Pokemon, so let's move on to items or trainers. We have over here the Energy Spinner. Just 1 copy is all you really need, and you essentially want to have this in your first turn, but even so, it's still a deck thinner either way. We have here Great Catcher as well. We could discard plenty of cards anyway, not a big deal. We have here Tag Call, allowing us to search for certain cards. We have over here a Tool Scrapper, great card to deal with certain pesky cards that your opponents might actually have, like Air Balloon or Big Charm or whatever. And we're playing here Viridian Forest, just a really nice card to allow you to get your energies whenever you actually need. Moving on, we're playing here Metal deck. It makes sense. We're going to be playing 4 copies here of Metal Saucer. Why wouldn't you? We're also going to be playing over here 3 copies of Pokegear 3.0 to search for our supporter cards, and we're also going to be playing here 2 copies of Pokemon Communication, allowing us to get the right Pokemon that we actually want into our hand by switching out the other. So these are all really nice, and they definitely suffice for the deck at their current ratios. For a bit of search power, we're going to also be playing here the 4 copies of Quick Ball, definitely an absolute standard for this, and of course it just gets pretty much everything you need except for the Berserker. But with that being said, we're also playing here 3 copies of Scoop Up Nets, just because we are playing a bit of some GXs and Vs, of course, and that would definitely be quite a hindrance with the Scoop Up Net, so I'm only playing 3, and we're going to be focusing more with the Switch because that's a bit better in this particular circumstance, and that's all you really need for it, and it definitely works out really well for this particular deck. Onto supporters, we're playing here the Guzman Hala, just one of them. We're playing Mallow and Lana as well, which can be searched out via tag calls, so it's definitely very nice, but you only really need one of each because it requires you to discard 2 other cards to actually get it to work, so you could see that it's not necessarily important to play more than that. We're also playing here 2 copies of Boss's Orders, definitely really nice for the deck itself, but you don't really need any more than 2 copies. However, I am playing here 3 copies of Marnie. I think Marnie is definitely a bit better in this circumstance. It's more of a disruption, and I think it really works out for the deck itself, so I actually decided to bump it up to 3 copies and keep Boss's Orders at 2 copies. However, if you want to adjust the ratios, you could switch them and play 3 Boss's Orders and 2 Marnie instead. Just play around and see what makes it comfortable for you. And of course, we're going to be playing here the 4 copies of Professor's Research. It's really good. It adds to consistency, and you want to always just have this card as many turns as possible to execute. It's a really fantastic card to just get you to draw out your deck as much as you can. However, moving on to energy, we're definitely going to be playing Aurora Energy. We have plenty of cards to discard for it anyway, but it provides you the energy you need whenever you need. So for this example, we're going to be playing it in ADP, and ADP basically always requires water, so if this could function as both water or steel, very nice for what it actually is. But we're also going to be playing here Capture Energy, just because we want to get out the Galarian Stunfisk onto the bench as quick as possible. One of the options is Capture Energy, and I figure if I have one of them, then I may as well just play it. We're also going to be playing over here 6 copies of the Steel Energy itself, definitely very nice for what it is, and we're going to be playing 2 Water Energy because this is what we actually need for our actual ADP to go off, but only 2 copies is all you really need in this particular circumstance. However, this was essentially the deck itself. It's really nice, it actually works really well, but of course that makes sense because you're playing cards like ADP and you're playing cards like Zacian V, and it's definitely really powerful. So with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm not building this particular deck for competitive purposes. You're meant to have fun with it because we're playing this Galarian Stunfisk, but if you don't want to play this, then you could also just play Galarian Stunfisk V, which is also a fantastic card as well. That would kick it up a notch into a more slightly competitive standpoint, but even then, you don't really need it, you know. It's mainly the supporting cards that oddly make this deck work really well in this particular case. But I think any metal deck out there is really just doing incredibly well right now, just because they have so many great varieties of support that actually work out for the deck. However, if you enjoyed this particular video, then definitely drop a like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It really helps. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you all next time.